heard us talk a lot in the last couple of years, especially about AI. Well, how about our next guest who pioneers in health care situations, and they do use AI, which we always talk about is the best use of artificial intelligence if it'll help us in a healthy way. He is Dr. Benjamin Yu, who's an MD and PhD. Apparently he was bored in college and just said, I got to go for more titles, right? And Chief Informatics Officer for the company called Humetrix. Dr. Yu, welcome into Tomorrow. How you doing?
Thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you, and I like how you guys are certainly innovators in this industry. Tell me a little bit first about Humetrix, and then we'll show if you're listening on the radio or stream or podcast, know that we've got video of all the interviews so you can see the things we're talking about here at CES. Just hit us up at intotomorrow.com. So let's learn a little more about Humetrix first.
Yeah, no, thank you. So Humetrix allows patients to basically receive healthcare anywhere in the world. The new technology allows you to go not only from clinic to clinic around the US, but anywhere across different country borders. So a lot of the medications that we use in the US are slightly different in other countries. And so if you're traveling or you work overseas or you're coming to the US, a lot of those medications are not the same as what we're used to. And so the problem with going to another clinic or trying to receive care is that you can, if a doctor doesn't know what you're taking or your past history, you can end up being hospitalized. They might end up giving you the wrong medications because of interactions. It's a huge, huge problem.
Yeah. And of course, that you bring up that important point, and that is the doctors aren't all familiar with all medications around the world. Many are very different. Certainly medications that we see in the US, they probably don't see a lot of elsewhere around the world, and vice versa. You know, if your doctor is from another country outside the U.S., you know, good luck with maybe your primary physician knowing what it is you're taking. So that's where Humetrix steps in and helps them sort of translate the medication like you would translate a language, perhaps?
Exactly. You know, it's actually a big deal not only for patients to be able to go across borders, but also companies that are trying to grow their business beyond their borders. So it might be digital health. You're used to now telehealth and those sort of things. We're able to now allow this platform for users to talk to clinicians anywhere they are in the world. So it kind of branches out where you could probably receive care.
Now, and this, I'm assuming, is what you guys are now calling SOS QR Global?
That's exactly right. So one of the idea of QR codes, I think you're all used to it after the pandemic. We've been using QR codes for menus and things. And so now we're making that possible just through sharing healthcare data in an entirely secure way. We're not sharing any private information. It's just sharing the information that you want to share about your health, about your medications, allergies, those sort of things.
And I was going to say, what brought you to develop such a thing, but I think in your early explanations about what it does and how it ultimately helps patients literally around the world and doctors, I'm guessing that's where you saw the need and said, we got to fix this.
That's exactly right. And I sort of, during the last few years, we've seen an explosion of virtual health solutions. And we think that that's going to solve one of the major problems in healthcare, which is access to healthcare, right? So whether you're in a rural area or a country that doesn't have the right doctors, the right specialties, we might now be able to connect the dots with those different individuals.
Can you give us an idea, show us perhaps how it works so folks get a better idea? Great.
So this is an example of, this is an example of a patient who's used our app, and again, it's not something you need to download. It might be something you use like a menu on when you're visiting a clinic. Or you might be a travel agency or telecom that's provided you this. But a patient can put in their information. It might see I can't read this either, but it might be their problems, their diagnoses, their medications, etc. And when they're ready to share it, this is a screenshot, but they can now share it through this QR code. And this QR code is extremely secure. It's used temporarily. It's only used for this one interaction. There's no healthcare data that's stored in the cloud. I think we're always concerned about our healthcare data, where it's going. None of it's on there. It's only on your device. You control whether it's there or not. You can delete it when you want. So you might show up to the clinic or to the telehealth doc with this, and then they would pull out their phone. No special device, can be any mobile device, and you would just take a picture of it, okay? And then
They would simply scan the QR code, of course, quick response. If those of us using QR codes, as you said, especially since the pandemic, yeah, that's what it stands for, quick response. And you've got the quick response. Now that doctor can see the information that Humetrix is now providing, right, to translate the medications and so forth. And then what does the doctor see?
So a doctor would see this. So if you looked at the previous screen here, the patient has on this side their conditions and problems, and I'm an American doctor, I'm looking at their problems, and I quickly understand, like, oh, they're having trouble breathing, and they're on these medications. Oh, and by the way, they're allergic to this particular medication. So that's a really critical thing as I'm thinking about the next step for this patient.
That's excellent. So then, of course, it doesn't matter then, as you say, where in the world you are, thus the SOSQR global name. It makes perfect sense. And is this something in use now? I mean, are doctors able to access this? Or I love how you brought up maybe your travel agent has, the information just so it's ready. Yeah.
So the technology's already there. We're live. We're launching with a few different partners this year. We can't disclose that correctly. Yeah, we're getting interest from both travel agencies, telecommunications companies, Border Patrol, large international venues like sporting venues. So if you come back in a few months, we'll let you know more.
Loving it. And again, leave it to our folks at Humetrix to say, here's a need, definitely a need. I mean, we travel the globe as well covering these kinds of events. And it makes me wonder, gee, what if, right? What if something happens? And how do we prepare for such a thing? Well, we work with Humetrix and do it.
Exactly. No, we think it's a really great big breakthrough for everybody, not just our company, but other patients. So it's a great thing.
Well, Dr. Wu, we thank you for spending a few minutes with us, and continued good luck, because this is something where, as I mentioned early on, AI making a difference. It's like, it's like every company here on this show floor says, oh yeah, we use AI. Well, it's become sort of a catchphrase, but what does it mean? Well, in your case, you're using it for our health, for life.
Exactly. It's helping to connect patients and services. It's one of our missions.
Love it. Check it out at humetrix.com, and of course, easy, HUMETRIX.com. But don't worry, we'll get you there. Visit us at intotomorrow.com and see the video of the interview with Dr. Wu, and therefore we will link you to their site so you can get more info. I'm Dave Graveline. Stay tuned. Much more to come, as promised, from the various CES show floors here in Las Vegas on Into Tomorrow, right here on the Advanced Media Network.